All right, welcome back to Kingston, Jamaica. Chris Chavez here with Anderson Emerald, Aisha Protlier, and Eric Jenkins after day 2 of Grand Slam Track Kingston. We had our first 4 Slam champions crowned today. I think today's day of action was just electric from start to finish. Overall impressions on the day, Anderson?
This felt like Grand Slam track to me. Like, this was the day that, like, fans were out, the energy was out, we saw the champions. Like, this was the day. I felt it.
Aisha?
Start to finish. They brought in some high schoolers to start the meet, and the vibes from there just basically went to the moon. It was great.
Yeah, it definitely was better today. We walked here, hell of a walk.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't worry.
As soon as you got in, the energy was better. Like it was electric. You could hear the stadium from a few blocks away.
That's how we knew where we were going.
Yeah.
We were following by ear.
Yeah.
No worries.
So yeah, the races were great. The crowd was wild. We were right in the grandstands. I'm feeling like I'm a bit rattled.
Yeah, I'm
Eardrums,
not sure I
yeah.
can hear.
A lot of horns.
Very loud today. It's very loud.
A lot of horn action.
Yeah.
They're giving the horns to anyone.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you blow on it?
No. The kids in front of us.
The kids in front of us.
Yeah.
Will bought one on the way in, and he served as a marketing tool for the horns.
He got good use out of it.
He really did.
He milked it for every penny.
I can't hear out of this ear
But
now.
yeah, it was great. Like, a lot of fun. All the races lived up to it, and it was super fun.
And then for the action on the track, I mean, like, this is what people were expecting. It's like when you line up the best athletes, and then today, a day when the actual $10,000, $100,000 checks were going to be cut. I mean, the athletes were very motivated, and each one of the races was brilliant. So we're going to start in chronological order to recap the day. And so we did have some events, competing for the first time. And the first event of the day was the men's short hurdles, the 110 hurdles, which in this one, like, it's the likes of Dylan Beard, who had a really great indoor season, just carrying it out onto the outdoor season. It takes the win over a very strong and accomplished field. But I guess, like, it was a little bit windy.
It was very windy, and the guys kind of said it after the race. They was like windy, but Dylan Beard, he got the win, kind of like a surprise. He's a challenger in a sense, against some of these top guys. But what I love about this is that all these hurdlers, except for Omar McLeod, they're not 100-meter sprinters. No. So when I was asking them after, they were like, "We're just gonna see what happens." So I don't know, but I do like the fact that Dylan Beard got the win here, and the 100 tomorrow is going to be interesting to see how that translates.
Yeah, if you put all their personal bests on paper, I think I averaged them all out, and it was like 10-4 or something like that.
Which is crazy. And Omar is like...
Omar brings it down
crazy.
Because he's a sub-10 guy, but that was back in 2016. It's been a while.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at who performed really well in this one, I do think I give the edge to Sasha Zoya from France, who is a racer, as the guy who could potentially sweep. He's got the second best 100-meter personal best in the field. He ran 100, I think, like, was it 3 years ago was the last time, but he's still only, like, 21, 22 years old.
He's
so
young. He's
in his prime.
He definitely is probably the guy to look forward to tomorrow in that 100.
So that was the men's short hurdles. Let's move on over next to the first Slam champion that was crowned today, which was the long sprints. And in this one, it was interesting because, like, you had a lot of the challengers potentially contesting for the Slam title after Chris Bailey won the 400, the 400 on day one. But then it was Matthew Hudson-Smith who says, no, I'm a racer. I signed to this league for a reason. Runs 20.77. Not as fast as actually I think he ran last weekend in Florida. But, like, again, like, this is all it took to win the Slam. Beats out Chris Bailey. I mean, that right there is a big point swing.
Yeah, I think, and we'll have a couple of the races are like this. This, to me, showcases like why Grand Slam track is all about the competition and about like the gamesmanship between day 1 to day 2. Because Matthew, he was second place in the 200 yesterday, so he knew that, all right, if Chris Bailey finishes in a certain spot, I got to finish higher. He gets the win here. That gets him, over the edge to be able to get the entire Grand Slam win. And he's a very strong kind of 400, 200 guy, and he really displayed it here. This guy really pushed it.
We did have our first instance of, like, the ties and who gets the edge and like where they finish in the point standings, because we were sitting underneath these tents, and Vernon Norwood is coming through, and he's all happy. He's like, I got 30K, and I was like, Vernon, I think you got 25, and he was like, "What?" And I was like,
shot him down.
I was like,
Should have just let him have 30K.
like let him just have it.
I was like, "You tied with Jareem," and he's like, "Yeah, but," and I was like, "Jareem finished second
In the two, yeah.
in the two," and he's like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "Well, they give the
Buddy.
edge to the person with the highest finish," and he goes, "I got to go talk to Kyle," and
I need to change these rules because
the Vernon Norwood
He's like,
rule.
I do need 30K, and I'm getting that extra 5 somehow.
Well, he came back to the tent later on, and he was like, "You guys hiring? Like, you guys, I have nothing to do tomorrow because I'm not racing, so I'm available." So
Trying to make up that last 5K.
the last 5K for Vernon Norwood.
I'll also say, just speaking on the money, Dream Richards told me that this is the most money that he's made in a weekend ever in his entire career.
Really?
And he's had a long career, and he's like been pretty successful. He's a world championship medalist, a world indoor champ. So he's like, if he's saying that, I don't know what these other guys are going to be.
It was a common, comment that I think a couple other athletes made. I mean, when we got to the men's short sprints, like Fred Curley walks away from this weekend after like a, subpar day one,
Yeah.
performs well on day two, and he's like, when he was walking out of the tent, he noted, he's like, I've made more than what I would have done winning the
Yeah.
Diamond League final.
Well,
So
how much is a regular Diamond League win in prize money?
10K for the
So
win.
like
10K
10K,
for the
and like
win.
to win a
And 30K
Diamond
for the
League
final.
to 30K for the final. To win a Diamond League is like unbelievably hard. To win a Diamond League final, I mean, and that's 30K. So yeah, the money here is
money
insane.
talks.
Money
Money
talks.
talks. Like,
Cool.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that was a good one. That was a good one.
We will have, I think, an interview that goes up with Matt Hudson-Smith, later on. He sat down with me. We broke down the race. But the very interesting part was, I was like, all right, so, now you get to, celebrate this one and then focus on actually. He's like, no, man. He's like, I am not going to celebrate this. I don't celebrate until the end of the season. And I was like, I just kind of, gave him a look. And he's like, because, I open up Twitter, and I'm reminded constantly about how I finish second place all the time. He's like, left and right. He's like, I see the memes, everyone's loud, chirping me. And he's like, especially the Americans, you guys. And
Oh, man.
I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And then I was like, all right. And so he gets up and walks off the interview in a very,
Oh, I got to see this interview.
funny
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
He was cool. Then he was coming back and hanging out with us later on. But I was like, sorry that internal monologue. I didn't actually say this.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
but,
apologize.
sorry that I really like Quincy Wilson and Vernon Norwood, and I'm an American. I'm a proud American.
Good, Chris. No, you don't need to
In the
apologize. to
sentence,
me.
like,
I'm
I know
go-
that felt very intimate for a
yeah,
second.
I'm right there with you. No. Look, once the direct deposit hits in that bank account, he'll be just fine. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
You
I
won't
think
even-
he might celebrate a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, before we move on, I do just want to give a shout out to Chris Bailey. Chris Bailey got overall second place here, gets $80,000. He came off the Olympic Games final, didn't
That's
have a
right.
contract, won World Indoors, signed with Nike, and now he's walking away from Grand Slam track as a challenger with 80K.
See, so now this has got to be some sort of record, right? First pro meet. 80,000, like, that's-
actually-
That's
That's a
that's impossible.
big financial.
That's
No one's,
crazy.
no,
Yeah.
no one's done
That's
that.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
But Anderson, this is exactly what you were talking about in the pre-show of how you can use this meet as a springboard to launch
yeah.
yourself into the stratosphere,
Yeah.
make yourself a household name, and really drum up a lot of buzz about yourself heading into the season.
In that
This
last
is
race
it.
that we talked about, I mean, Dylan Beard was working at Walmart last year, and
Literally.
it's like now he's in a position to potentially win 100K. I think he's still unsponsored, but if he wins this weekend, I mean, a shoe company has to come calling.
And he already won the 110 hurdles. So at minimum, even if he finishes last in the 100, he's already making a ton of money. So it's crazy. So yeah, this is good.
All right, so let's move on over to the first distance race that we had on the day, which was the women's short distance 1500, which in this one, we looked at the Paris Olympic finalists, the likes of Nikki Hiltz, Jess Hull, Diribe Welteji, Susan Ajori as potential favorites. And some of them fared very well yesterday. And that, there's probably a big confidence boost. But then at the same time, with how fast they ran on day one, it did look like, for some of these athletes, it took a toll on them. And so, you did have Jess Hull up towards the front of the race doing a lot of the work. But then from there, Diribe Welteji was just patient throughout this race, and then timed to kick perfectly to come away with the win in 4:04. Good tactical race. And then from there, the athletes behind Welteji were, still fighting. And I think kind of that's the beauty to this format, is that you are still invested as to just sort of like, all right, so how is second and third going to shake out? Or if you have a personal favorite in the race, it's like, I want them to finish as high as possible. And so you saw, Nikki Hiltz just lean at the finish line to try and get as many points over Jess Hall, and finishes, above Jess, I believe, in the final standings.
Yes. Second. Yeah.
So Nikki ends up with a big payday. Welteji with the slam title. What did you make of the race, Aisha?
I liked how Diribe Welteji raced here. I think it shows her prowess in rise in the 1500, being able to hang on and be second in the 800. She's run 352. She's 22 years old, and everyone this year is really talking about Faith Kipyegon, who's not here to race. And when you look at the field and what these women were able to do this weekend, it's really looking good for the event this year. We're gonna say this a lot, but it is quite early. This is earlier than the first Diamond League ever is, and we're seeing really intense head-to-head competition with a big mix of skills, and I love to see it.
Eric?
It was definitely looked like the 800 yesterday took a little bit of sting out of these athletes' legs. It was fast, right? 158, and you saw Jess Hall go right to the front as a 350 athlete. Like, she definitely thought that was probably her best move. Made it honest, but just not honest enough to really break, the athletes of this caliber. But yeah, just a great weekend for them. Nikki definitely didn't look quite as strong as they did in that 800. But, when you PR to come back the next day, it still was hot. And it's the earlier races. But still huge weekend. And I'm sure they're going to be excited about it.
Yeah. And then, Susan Ajore gained a lot of points here today that also just ended up, propelling her to, was it third in the slam standings?
Watching the race back yesterday, Susan Ajore had a kind of a big stumble with about 150 to go. And I didn't pick that up because I was watching the front of the race. It was really exciting. So I think we will see more from Susan. I don't think she was able to show her full self in the 800, but watching her come back in the 1500, hungry and ready for revenge, really plays nicely. I hope to see her at another slam.
Mary Mora, a DNS today.
But so we were actually talking about that. Okay, hold on. Like, don't say guy. Like this is on you. Like, yes, we called her for the win. She didn't win. A lot of my friends lost a lot of money, and
we're sorry again. But mine too. Very
but
sorry.
So she didn't start, and she still gets does she still get the 10?
She gets her points and finishes 10th.
Now this is the sweetest deal in track and field.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's crazy.
This is
All
crazy.
deals again. We got to be careful.
Now, there's definitely going to be some asterisks after this, because you can show up and obviously like
win day one.
Like, not even win day one, or like come in dead last in day one,
Get
and then
1 point,
and then
one
not
more,
show
right.
up to day 2.
We got to not advocate for this. So,
Well, right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's going to be some rule changes
Yeah,
after this.
Let's give
yeah.
track and field athletes the benefit of the doubt. Nobody really wants to do that.
100%. I'm
True.
I'm scheming the system here. I'm saying that's
if
why
you need to win your money back,
this is why it's this
from
best deal.
from the bad bet that we suggested, maybe try to be a challenger on the Grand Slam. Do one
10K,
race.
2 minutes of work.
No biggie.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
That's
That's
it.
the only way to make it back.
So yeah, honestly, rough weekend for her. I hope she's like fine
I
and
think
not
so.
banged up.
She was pretty dehydrated, I think, after day
Yeah.
one, and then just I don't know, like
It's a
couldn't
big
get it together.
travel.
No,
I mean,
no one put a big old can of drip in her hands.
You see them everywhere.
Yeah, it's literally everywhere. She's like, I'm really thirsty and very, very dehydrated. I probably won't even race tomorrow. And they're like, damn, that sucks. Like, no, there's really no water around.
There's
But
nothing. There aren't massive tall boys.
she's like, I
of
don't
drip.
want 16 ounces of IPA. I want a nice spring water. Like, that's what's crazy about it. It actually is drip. Yeah. She's like, no.
What's been your review of drip? You see it everywhere.
Yeah, like
Actually, no, be kind. Be
No,
kind.
no. Let me tell you, I'm chugging them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
yes.
Yeah, no, we
I'm
really are.
I'm
though.
drinking a ton of drip.
An ice cold drip, but the branding is excellent because every time Eric or I grabs a drip, we just say, "You dripping?"
Yeah.
And then I get a drip too, so it works.
No, I am a fan of drip. And is it my favorite water? Is it like top 3? I mean, I'm a huge water guy. Like, is it top 3? I don't know.
Okay, what are your other?
I was gonna say.
Well,
like,
I'm from New England, so like I'm a big Poland Springs guy.
Oh, sure.
Um,
What about Saratoga?
Yeah.
You doing the water thing?
I haven't done it yet. I would like to try it. But like, am I dunking my face in it
Yeah.
at 4 in the morning?
Nah.
No, but actually, drip should do their morning routine.
Should we do it tomorrow?
We could do it.
right.
I'm not waking up that early, but we can obviously just fake it. We could do yeah we do. We'll do a drip morning routine.
Okay.
It'll look very similar to Ashton Hall's.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Mary Mora.
yeah. Drip, Mary Moore. Yeah.
Yeah, super dehydrated. Should have like someone go run a drip to her. But yeah,
Oh man.
good weekend for her.
All right, let's move over to the women's short hurdles, which they contested the 100-meter hurdles today. And this one is kind of fascinating because Nia Ali was originally listed on the entry list, but
And she was even originally a replacement, I think, as
yes.
well.
So now 2 degrees of
Yeah.
challengers, and Tia Jones, who trains, in Gabby Thomas's training
Yeah,
group
man.
under Coach Tandra Buford Bailey. They're planning to, stay in Jamaica and do a little bit of a training camp over the next couple of days. And so Coach Bailey told Tia Jones, was like, you know what, why don't you pack your uniform and who knows? Like, what if someone scratches and you get the call? And so Tia Jones was at the ready. And then today wins day 1 by running 12:63, snags 12 points, and has to run 100.
Has to run
tomorrow.
100. I mean, this is a very, very well-paid practice session,
Yeah.
if anything, right? Now, Tia Jones, I mean, she had been she broke the world record last year before, I think after Devin Charlton had done in the 60-meter hurdles indoors. So we knew that she's extremely talented, and she's done very well in the 100 hurdles.
Did she
So
tear her ACL?
She tore, I forget if it was her ACL, but it was at USA indoors last year.
Wow.
And that kind of messed her up. She competed at Olympic trials last year as well, but didn't kind of make things through. But so it's not too much of a surprise for her to jump back in, but it's really dope to see her kind of be a last minute entrant, get the win here over. I mean, look at the field, right? Daniel Williams, 2-time world champion. Camacho Quinn, former Olympic champion. Nugent, Masai Russell, former Olympic, current Olympic champion. So Tia Jones getting the win here is a very, very big performance. If she feels confident going into the 100 tomorrow as well.
But looking at the hurdlers, who do you think, I guess this is the big question around this group, is who has the best 100-meter time, or I guess the best potential from this is a Kara Nugent, who has the fastest personal best by far. But I think people are sleeping on Jasmine Camacho Quinn, where she's run a really fast 200 in the past. So the flat races do still fare well for her.
Yeah, Camacho Quinn probably is in the best position because she could probably, if she finishes second or wins the 100-meter dash, but then Tia Jones, Daniel Williams, they finish down in the pack, that is going to be very good for her. But then also someone like Masai Russell. Now, she finished 5th place here, so it's going to take a lot, for things to go well. But she ran a very fast 100. It was a little windy, but she ran fast before. So it'll be interesting. Similar to the men, the women don't run the flat 100 as much. So it opens all kinds of doors and presents some confusion but entertainment for the 100.
When I was, kind of being nerdy in the previous show, and I said we're going to be getting a lot of data from this first meet, these are the data points that I think are going to be super valuable going into Miami and into Philly, because it's because a lot of these people haven't run the flat 100 before, we don't know what they're capable of, and so now we're finally going to actually have numbers for it. So we get to look forward to that tomorrow.
Yeah, and then we got, I think the women's 100, the short sprints came up right after that. And that's another one where this was kind of another one where we had, Melissa Jefferson Wooden got the win here, but Jenna Prandini in second place kind of was literally a last minute entrant.
Yeah, Jenna Prandini got the call, 4 days ago, I think it was, after Brittany Brown scratch. And as we covered kind of in our preview show, Jenna Prandini has the versatility in the 1 and the 2, making both of those Olympic trials, and then showed that today with a second place finish. But definitely lots of props to Melissa Jefferson Wooden taking the win here, because this is her specialty event, coming off a big bronze medal in Paris. And when I did get the chance to sit down with her, like she watch the race back. She was like, overall, just a very clean race, like from start to finish. And when I told her, it was like, one of my big bold predictions for this year, Melissa, is that I think that you're going to discover that you're a really good 200-meter runner. And she goes, you know what? I think so too. I used to run them a lot in high school. Not that they were anything crazy, but I set out to really challenge myself this year. That's why I signed up to do this. And so tomorrow the challenge is accepted. So
here we go.
We'll get to see that in the final. So that was the women's short sprint 100. Now let's move on to the men's short distance 1500, which was an absolutely epic race. Like we were, thinking, it's like, all right, now, what are the 1500 guys going to do? Well, this is the kickoff. What are they going to do to, try and run the legs out of the 800-meter specialists? And one of them said, I'll go with you guys. And it was Emmanuel Wanyonyi, the 800-meter Olympic champion.
We have to say, Chris, right before you even keep going, you've been so gung-ho on Wanyonyi that you were right.
Yeah.
Oh,
You were right.
guys.
Because before we were actually talking about it, and you were like, who you think's going to win? And I thought, it was either going to be, kind of the big three of Hawker, Nagus, or Carrera. I was like, it could be either one of those guys. And you were like, no, Wanyonyi. And I was like, no.
No.
And you were like, what about that 338? I'm like, 338?
That's nothing.
But yeah, no, like what a race. Hawker, like the way that the race kind of played out, like you see Hawker do what he's done in races before, where he just kind of hits the front, stays out of trouble, and runs 60 seconds for the first 800. That's like his comfortable pace, right? It's like, okay, I can run 60s and then usually close off that. He didn't quite have it at this race. Still, very early in the year, but yeah, like just. Very interesting to see, like the 800 guys, like Marco. Marco looks so good running at that pace. Like you see, like such a good stride. Didn't have it, but
It was Yared and Josh who were the ones who were like, we're going to go to the front now and press. And, they took it out. How far would you say that they took it out?
Was it like 6?
Yeah,
600
Yara did the front around 600. Really, really pressed on the backstretch. It seemed like Cole did not want to give up the first position, but maybe that was a little bit too much of a press with 600 to go. Maybe he could have slotted in a little bit longer and waited, but we didn't see that. And as we talked about in the pre-show, we said the 1500-meter guys need to run fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you leave these dogs in the fight that have good kicks, like it could be game over, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, and so Wanyonyi just hung on him, and then going into the final 120 meters is sort of when he starts to make a move, and then on the actual 100, he has to go wide, makes the pass, looks over at Yared Nagus, and I don't know if you've seen the clip yet. They put it up on the Grand Slam track Instagram account, but when Yoni gives him a little bit of a wave with his left hand as to kind of signal like keep up.
The crowd goes wild.
It was ballistic. I mean, he just did that to the Paris Olympic podium, who ran the fastest 1500 in Olympic history, and you just dog walk them. And it was incredible.
Completely. Yeah, it was incredible.
And now, I mean, like the guy's in the driver's seat going into day 2. The question is, I mean, it's not too questionable in terms of just like how is he going to do on tired legs in an 800, because he does this at World Championships and Olympics. So Emmanuel Wanyonyi might be $100K richer by the end of this weekend. And honestly, like I hope that he catches the bug from being in this environment and says, all right, Mr. Merbert, let me into Miami or Philly or something like that, because like I could not get enough of watching this race.
I mean, I think you can't win like the 15 and the 8 and not get the invite back to the next slam. Like you should that should be an automatic qualification. I think like if your guys like Josh Kerr like really faded pretty hard in that last backstretch, was aggressive like and made like it was a smart race on his part throughout. Like he didn't make wrong moves, just kind of ran out of gas. Yared, I think, ran like again, that was his race. 600 to go, hit the front, make a long push, like pull it out. Like these guys, like Josh and like Wanyonyi, Hawker, they've got better foot speed if it comes down to do a kick. But yeah, like Wanyonyi just had an absolute fantastic day.
It gets the news gets worse for the 1500 guys because when I sat down with him afterwards, he said, "This is my event in the future." And I kind of like tried to see. I was like, "When you say future, like when do you mean?" And then like he was like, "Well, this year I got to bring down my 800 PR." So that's a nice way of saying I'm gonna try and break the world record. And then he's like, and then from there, maybe I will, give the 1500 a go. And it's like, bad news for the Paris Olympic podium and the 1500 guys. But this is exciting, honestly. Like that you have a new challenger has entered the villa.
The villa.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 more races to unpack, and 2 more Slam champions that were crowned, and. It was the Kenny Bednarek show, where I guess the K in 100K stands for Kenny.
For Kenny, I mean, back-to-back wins in the 100, in the 200. I mean, after yesterday, to me it was a foregone conclusion. Once he's good in the 100, we know that he's going to be showing up in the 200. He's the best 200-meter sprinter in this field. Like he came into the mix zone, took out the 100K check. Like he was on cloud 9. So shout out to Kenny for. Yeah, really showing up.
I mean, it was right off of the first curve that I feel like he was in control of this.
Controlled the race from basically start to finish. He was the guy in this race. I do want to shout out kind of like, of course, behind him, Zarno Hughes getting the second place, Oblique Seville, and then we spoke about him a little bit before, Fred Curley. He really showed up after not doing well in that 100. He is a gamer, right? We know that, we've seen him before not have great early seasons and then show up at the Worlds or at the Olympics. I think he's showing that he's taking Grand Slam track seriously to be able to, get 4th place here. The next couple slams, Fred Curley might be the guy, but Kenny B, he's holding things down right now.
And Fred, kind of, we didn't stop to chat with him on our side of the tent, but he did say, he's like, I haven't actually been training, all that long. Fred had an eventful off season that, I think a lot of people, caught the news of, and it affected him. And so, not having the perfect build up to this early start of a season, watch out for Fred in the later portions of the year.
Yeah.
So that was, and honestly, like, Kenny didn't hesitate afterwards when, I asked him, it's like, all right, so let's look ahead to Miami. Like, any challengers you want to call out? But immediately, Noah Lyles, Arian Knighton. Arian ran a good 400 today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Arian's got options if he wants to play in Grand Slam track.
Pull up.
You got to pull up first.
Like, come on. Let's do it.
And then the night ended with an all-time race because this one,
crazy.
Rewrites the top of the 400-meter record books. Not the world record is under threat this year. That's been very clear. From Salwa Eid Naser running. Now 2 back-to-back 48-second performances. And today runs 48.67, which puts her at.
She's already number 3 all-time. Okay. She's run 48.14 from back in 2019.
But this is a top 10 all-time performance?
Yeah, this is like top 10 or something like that. I mean, it's insanely fast. Like, we're on the first week of April. Like you said, second time running 48 seconds in the span of a week and a half or whatever it is. Like, this was absolutely insane from Salwa Eid Naser. And I, again, spoke to her as well. And I said, like, is 47 seconds possible? And she's like, listen, anything is possible. I don't see why not. So she is on cloud 9. I love that, again, going back to just the Grand Slam track, like, she got 4th place in the 200. And obviously she's a good 400 runner, but she probably realized, all right, she actually said that I was disappointed with my 200. I want to make sure I can place well in the 400. So she did that.
And if we get the point standings up, like, you could see that, she moved all the way up to second place with 17 total points. It just so happened that Gabby Thomas is an absolute fighter. Gabby, locked her eyes on, Salwa in the first parts of the race, and then just, methodically moved, on that second curve. And in that first home stretch, she was like, I'm going lactic, but at the same time, when she said, we have a breakdown with her with 50 meters to go, she's like, I was thinking 100K because, she heard the announcer say it, propelled herself, gets a big personal best, becomes the Grand Slam Kingston champion. 100K sounds nice, and lactic acid goes away. The 100 check, hits the bank account the next day.
Yeah, I was on the flight with her coming to Kingston, and she was flying economy, and we were like, "Yo, like,
Gabby?"
Sure? Yeah, like she was in an economy, and I'm like, "Yo, you're gonna upgrade like now, going home, whatever." But 100K, I mean, Gabby is really, really doing well, and I'm excited to see how she kind of goes into the next couple slams.
Yeah.
Big.
She's watching this now, like, jeez, like, yeah,
Put me on
yeah.
blast. Trying to be a
I'm one of the
woman
one of the people. Yeah.
Sorry, Gabby.
Yeah.
I do feel like this is the dream of Grand Slam. It's like
Yes.
it's the perfect Venn diagram, and Michael Johnson looked very, very happy with how this ended up.
He looked also shocked at just like, well, it's April and they're running this fast. We've got something really good coming up, like over the next couple months.
Very cool. Very cool to see Gabby just fighting down the home stretch because you're watching her it's like you know that she won the 200. Everyone's watching her to see if she can make it to second and get that win. It's what's different about Grand Slam, and it was really exciting.
It's fascinating to see Paulino
Yeah.
get tired. I mean, this is Paulino's first loss since 2023. First time she's finished third since I think a month or two even before that, and so. Either this just lit a crazy fire under Paulino that we're going to just see something crazy in Miami. But regardless, like Gabby's, gets to go back down to the 1-2 group. But she's, making up quite a bit of ground in the final, point standings that, the extra 100K for Racer of the Year gets awarded to.
Yeah,
So,
I would just say that sometimes I think on day one, it was maybe tricky to see all these things coming into fruition because we're looking at people finishing first and second and whatever, but we're not truly looking at the points as they would play out. Now we got to see them actually play out across the board in the 15 for the short sprints for the women, the long sprints for the women. Like across the board, we're seeing the points actually play out. So I feel like people start to get more accustomed as the days and the weekend kind of goes on.
all right, so that does it for day 2 of Grand Slam Track Kingston. Tomorrow the action starts a little bit earlier. I believe it starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time for our followers and supporters and viewers out in America. You can watch it on the CW. You can stream it on Peacock. You can catch us, afterwards unpacking all of the action. Be sure to follow along on Citius Mag's Instagram. We've got tons of interviews going up on our YouTube channel, lots of updates, results, all that kind of stuff. So, today was the day I think that a lot of people envisioned and hoped for day one. And so, it's only up from here.
Yeah, no, today was great. I'm really excited for tomorrow.
All right. Well, that does it. Have a good night, everybody. I love track and field. Also, hats on.